Thank you for enrolling in the complete WordPress website course. In this lecture, I want to give you a bird's eye view so you know what to expect. The primary goal of this course is to become a complete WordPress front-end developer. I believe that the best way to learn is by doing. And that is why we are going to build 5 real-world projects inside this course. But before starting with the projects, I will first have you install WordPress on your own computer so that you do not have to purchase a web server and you can practice and experiment with WordPress. Next, we will learn how to create our first page inside the WordPress. And after that, we will be diving deeper into it and understanding how themes and plugins work so we can get to know much more about WordPress. And once we're done with the basic section, then we will be moving on to our first project, that is the personal website. In the personal website project, we will be building a website about ourselves where we will showcase everything about ourselves, including our skills, our services, and our social media accounts. Not only that, we will also be working with the basic aspects of the web design, like hover effects. So as you can see, as I bring my mouse to any of the elements, the icon gets bigger and the color is changed. Not only that, we will also be working with the pop-up so that if I just click on the Hire Me button, it's gonna trigger a pop-up. Once we're done with the personal website project, we will learn how we can transfer that locally hosted website from our personal computer to an online server so that the website can be visible to public. After that, we will be moving on to our second project, that is the corporate website. In the corporate website project, we will learn how to build professional website for corporate companies. We will learn how margins and paddings work so that we can give our website a much clearer and better look. Also, we will learn how to interlink pages and use the WordPress menu features to add a menu so that anyone can just go to any of the page and take a look at that. Once we're done with the corporate website project, we will be moving on to our third project, and that is the blog website. A blog is a website that shows different latest posts in a chronological order, and anyone can just click on any of the posts and he will be taken to that particular post. After completing the third project of this course, you will be able to build any type of blog website, whether it's CNN.com or BBC.com. After that, we will be moving on to our fourth project, that is the e-commerce website. In the e-commerce website project, we will learn how to build an online shopping website where anyone from anywhere around the world can take a look at all the products, add them to the cart, and check out and pay using different type of payment methods, whether it's PayPal or debit card. We will learn how to build a beautiful looking homepage where we will showcase every product, feature products. Not only that, we will also be working with animation. So as you can see that I'm moving the page, how this animation is taking place, and this product image is moving. Not only that, we will also learn how to implement slider or carousel so that we can slide through the products. So let's suppose that if I want to purchase this Mac Pro that I have over here, I can just click on here and it will redirect me to that particular page. In this project, we will also learn how to design these pages so that you can see that as I move down, how this animation is taking place. Along with that, we also have the price over here. And if I just click on this I am interested button, it's going to take me down to the description of this page. So now if I just go down, then here we've got this add to cart button where the person can actually select the quantities, click on add to cart, and the product is going to be added to the cart page. Now you can see that here I've got this cart, and if I click on it, the cart will slide up. Now I can click on view cart and it's going to redirect me to the cart page, and here I am. In this project, we will also learn how to work with custom shipping methods like local pickup, United States Postal Service, or DHL. Not only that, we will be restricting these shipping methods to only some of the countries. So like let's suppose that instead of US, if someone is from outside the US, whether he's in UK, and if he just hits on update, and only those shipping methods that are inside the UK will be given to us. So if now the person clicks on proceed to checkout, he will be taken to the checkout page where now he has to enter his first name, last name, his address, city, and now here he can select whether he wants to pay via direct bank transfer or PayPal. Not only that, we will also be optimizing this website for the mobile devices as well, so that if anyone is actually viewing this on a mobile device, then it would look like a mobile app, where the person can just go to the My Account page by just clicking on here, and he would be taken to the My Account page. He would also be able to search for any of the product by clicking this, and he would also be able to open the cart page by just clicking on here, and all the products that are inside the cart will be shown. Similarly, he would also be able to browse through the website by just clicking on this menu, and he would be able to go to any of the page by just clicking that. After completing the 4th project of this course, you would be able to build any type of e-commerce website and sell products or services directly on your website. And once we are done with the 4th project, we will be moving on to our final project of this course, that will be customized real estate website. So basically, WordPress allows us to only add posts and pages. But let's suppose that we want to add something else like products. Products can be actually added using a plugin inside the WordPress. But let's suppose that if you want to build something else beside that, like properties on the website, like we want to list all the properties like this, where we would be having a title of the property, the image of the property, along with the price, location, category of the property, the size of the property, and the bedrooms as well. So let's suppose that we want to build a website like that, where we could be adding or showing all the properties. And not only that, the administrator would be able to add a new property by just going into the new, opening this property, and he would be taken to that particular property, where he would be able to add the title of the property, the description, and along with that we will also be allowing some of the custom fields, like what is the price, that will be shown here in the price field. Not only that, the size of the property type, and everything. And along with that, he would be able to select the location, add a category, and publish that. And once he published that property will be shown over here in this all properties page. Similarly, if let's suppose that if I open this particular property, now you can see that here I am, and this is the title right here, the price. Along with that, we've got the parking type and everything. Now this will be fully dynamic. So like let's suppose that if I just go ahead and I click on edit property, now here you can see that this is actually fully furnished. Now let's suppose that if I want to change this to semi-furnished, I can click on the edit property, and now I can go down and I can change this to semi-furnished. Now if I just go ahead and I hit update property, and now if I just hit on view, now you can see that this is actually changed to semi-furnished. Similarly, we will also be working with the relationship between the properties as well. So like let's suppose that this property is actually in the Almeria Island. Now if I open this in a new tab, this Almeria Island, then all the properties that are inside the Almeria Island will be shown to me. Now let's suppose that if I want to change the location of this property. Alright, so what I can do is that I can just go into the edit property over here, and instead of the Almeria Island, let's suppose that this property is actually in Dubai, and inside the Dubai it's actually in downtown. Alright, now if I just hit on update over here, now you can see that this property is going to be updated, and if I just hit on view, now you can see that the location is now changed to downtown. Now if I just go ahead and I refresh all the properties that are inside the Almeria Island, now you can see that that particular property is gone. And now if I go into the locations, and now I go into Dubai, and now I open this downtown over here, then all the properties that are in the downtown will be shown, because this is the property that we just changed its location. Now since in the title here it says Abu Dhabi, so I'll be changing this property location to the Abu Dhabi as well. I'll be going into the edit property, and now I'll be just unchecking this, and I'll be setting this to Almeria Island, and now I'll hit update. And now I have changed this property location back to the Almeria Island, and now if I just go ahead and I refresh this, you can see that that particular property is back. Not only that, in this project, we will be talking about much more advanced techniques of web design. Like you can see that if I just go down, now here you can see I've got these counters, and if I just go down, here I've got the location of Dubai, and if I just click on here, it will show me all the properties that are in Dubai, and if I just go down, you can see how this transition is taking place, and now here I've got this Abu Dhabi. Similarly, if I just click on Abu Dhabi, it's going to take me to the Abu Dhabi page where it will show me all the properties that are inside the Abu Dhabi. Not only that, we will also be working with a feature of the Google Map and using the Google Map API to actually get the location of Abu Dhabi dynamically and show that over here as well. In the description as well, we will also show about the life in Abu Dhabi, like how's the life in Abu Dhabi, what's the nightlife, what's the day life, and what are the expenses and everything. So we can also add these type of information as well, and all the properties that are in Abu Dhabi will be shown right here. Similarly, there will also be sub-relationships as well. So like you can see that inside the location, I've got this Abu Dhabi, and inside the Abu Dhabi, we've got so many locations. Like we've got Al Maraya Island, Al Raha, Al Reef, Khalifa City, and everything right here. And now you can see that here I'm getting all of the properties that are inside the Abu Dhabi subcategories or the sub-locations as well, and all the properties are being shown. So once you're done with the 5th project, you would be able to build any type of website using WordPress without programming. And after completing this course, you will become a complete WordPress front-end developer.
It was during the 2011 World Cup. It was during the finals. We were we were playing at Wankhede, and it was like 10 or 15 runs were needed. And me and Yuvraj, we were batting. And all of a sudden, the crowd, they start singing the song Vande Mataram.
Oh my God, that gives me goosebumps.
And you're right in the middle, and imagine 40,000 people, saying Vande Mataram. And so it used to start from, let's say, if it started from North Stand, your ears actually move because it goes around.
Welcome back, my dear students, and thank you very much once again for enrolling in my course. So now from the next lecture, we will be starting up with the implementation. But before going to the next lecture, here are a few important notes that I want to highlight. So the first point is, of course, the video quality. On the bottom right side of the player, you should see the settings icon. I'd recommend you to click that and always view in the 1080p resolution so you would be able to see clearly what is being taught. The second point is, of course questions. When you will be following the course, chances are that you might face difficulty while completing a lecture. If you get any problem while completing this course, you can always post a question. I have created a lecture that will teach you how to post questions on Udemy that you can find right after this video. The third point is, of course reviews. I'm sure that before you took this course, you read some student reviews that were available on Udemy. And student reviews can be very helpful for prospective students to help them decide whether the course is for them or not. So if you enjoy the course, please consider leaving an honest review of this course. Now, I have no control over when Udemy asks you to leave a review. Sometimes they ask you quite early on, and then throughout the course, they'll keep asking you and telling you to leave a review. That is not under my control. I do not have a say in that. So if you want to leave it to the end to leave a review, then by all means, leave it to the end and leave a review. What is important is that you can get your thoughts across so that prospective students can use that to help them make an informed decision. And finally, the course updates. I always try to make my courses up to date, but I have so many courses out there and it's quite difficult for me to keep an eye on all of them. So if you find something that has changed in WordPress and makes the lecture difficult to follow, then please let me know and I'll take a look at it. And finally, just enjoy the course, take it at your own pace. You can come back as often as you like. You've got the lifetime access to this course. One of the best things about WordPress is that it is an open source, which means that it is free to use and sell it to the clients. In this lecture, we're going to be learning about the tools you need to complete this course. You probably have most of them, and the rest can be obtained free, so let's get started. By the end, you would have everything needed in one place to complete this course. So the number one you need is a computer with an internet access. I recommend having a Mac or a Windows operating system. You'll also need a modern browser. I recommend having either Chrome or Firefox downloaded right on your machine, so when you are building the websites, you can test these websites on these modern browsers on the fly. You can also use Safari for Mac or Internet Explorer on Windows, but for testing purposes only. We will be mostly using Chrome since Chrome is used by the majority of people. You also need to download a copy of WordPress from wordpress.org. Click on Get WordPress and download the WordPress by clicking on the button here. Once the WordPress zip file is going to be downloaded, you can extract it and you will be given a WordPress folder. And inside this WordPress folder, there is going to be all of the WordPress files right here. And all the files are mostly based on PHP. So now let's suppose that when we want to edit these files, we will be needing a text editor. Your computer already has it. On Windows, there is Notepad, and on Mac, there is TextEdit. But since you can see that these are the programming files, and when we want to edit these files, we will be needing a text editor specifically designed for programming languages. I recommend downloading Sublime Text that you can download from sublimetext.com. The process is really simple. You need to download that and do the next, and it is going to be downloaded. So once the Sublime is downloaded, now if you go to any of the WordPress file, you can right click on it and open with the Sublime Text, and this is how your file will look like. And now we can edit any file we want to using this editor. Since we will be building high quality, amazing websites in this course, that is why our main aspect would be to load our website much faster. And in order to do that, we will be optimizing the images. And for that, you need a great image editor. I recommend having Adobe Photoshop. If you do not have it, don't worry. You can use an online photo editor called photop.com. This is actually an alternative of Photoshop. And last but not the least is Xampp. That is spelled as Xampp. And this is a software that will actually let us install WordPress on our own computer. So if you are using the Windows operating system, then hit the download. Do not install it, but just download it on your computer. And if you are using the Mac operating system, then do not download it right now. There is another method of downloading that for the Mac that I will be telling you inside the Mac section. So I hope that you have downloaded all the tools that are necessary. If you haven't, just go and rewatch the video and download all the tools that are necessary. See you in the next lecture.
I like wide shooting. I'm a great believer in what Charlie Chaplin said, is that a life is a tragedy in close-up and a comedy in long shot. If you sit back visually on a situation, it automatically becomes funnier. I mentioned, which is a French comedian called Jacques Tati, who said that comedy begins in the legs. And making a character more real and more sympathetic and more identifiable doesn't necessarily make him funny, because in many ways what's funny about Mr. Bean, for example, is his complete sort of selfishness, and he's a natural born anarchist. So he's a child trapped in a man's body.
In this lecture, we will learn why you need a server to run WordPress. So now what I want you to do is to just sit and relax and don't do anything. This video is going to really help you understand why are we installing Xampp on our computer and converting our computer into a local server so that we can run WordPress. So now if we go ahead and we go to wordpress.org and now we click on Get WordPress. Now inside here we click on Download WordPress. The WordPress files are going to be downloaded. So now if we go ahead and we open that WordPress, now you can see that this will be actually a zip file. And if we extract this zip file, we will get to see a WordPress folder. So now if we open up this folder, you can see that all the files we get are based on PHP. And PHP is what? PHP is a programming language. What it does? it actually communicates with your web browser, with your web server, and also your database to load the website. Now there is another language. There is another markup language called the HTML. The HTML is a totally independent language, which means that it can freely run on your web browser without using any server. Let me show you what I mean. Inside the WordPress folder, we have this readme.html file that is a guide to actually learn how we can install WordPress. So now, if we go ahead and we open this file with the Sublime text, alright, if I just open this file with the Sublime text, then this is going to be the code of this HTML file that we have. So right here you can see that we have got a heading over here, and inside this heading we've got the first things first, welcome to WordPress and everything. And now if I just go ahead and I open this readme HTML file by just double clicking on it, this will open up on my browser and I'm not using any server. So now let's have a look at the PHP file. Now I'll be just going ahead and I'll be opening the WordPress folder. Now I have got this index.php and so many of the PHP files right here. Now let's suppose that if I want to open this on my Chrome browser, so I'll be just dragging this file and I'll be dropping it here in my Chrome right here, and this will open up. And this is actually not working. It's just showing the text, but it is actually not working. And the reason for that is because it's not interpreted. So let's talk about something that why WordPress actually uses PHP. So WordPress is totally a dynamic website. That means that you can build a website with the WordPress without using any of the programming language. Then what you can do is that you can upload that onto the online server. And let's suppose that now you want to edit the website, or you want to customize the website, or you want to do particularly anything with the WordPress website. You do not have to go into the code and make the change in the code itself to like edit the website or customize the website. Like WordPress provides you an admin panel and you can edit that website from that admin panel itself. And that is why WordPress uses PHP. And it is totally based on that. So let's have a look at the website that we will be building as our 5th project inside this course. You can see that I'm logged into the WordPress website as an administrator, and I can even log out. So you can see that this is basically a property. This is a beautiful villa in the city where we've got bedrooms, we've got price, and also we've got the size of it. Now let's suppose that I want to make any of the change inside this particular property. Then I would not have to go into the code and make the change. However, instead, what I can do is that I can just click on the edit property over here. And now it is going to take me to the WordPress admin panel where now I can edit this. So let's suppose that I wanted to change the size that was 10,000 square feet. I need to change that to 20,000 square feet. And in the property type, I need to set this to fully furnished. Now, if I go ahead and I hit on update, this particular property is going to be updated. And if I just click on view, now you can see that the size is changed to 20,000 square feet and the property type is now changed to fully furnished. So now, if you go ahead and you view this website on another web browser or on another computer or even on your own mobile device as well, you will see that the changes will be reflected. So what is actually happening? Basically, PHP that WordPress is built on is a language that is communicating with the database that is inside our server and is making that particular change happen in the fly without needing for us to go into the code and making the change in the code itself. Now let's take a look at the HTML file. On the other hand, let's suppose that if you want to edit any of the HTML file, we have to open the code of the HTML file. So you can see that we've got this first things first as the heading. Now let's suppose that if I change this first things first to actually first things last, and I just save the file. Now if I go ahead and I refresh this, now you will see that this will be changed to first things last. So what we actually did, we made the change in the code itself. We did not go to the admin panel and made the change. That makes it really hard. So that is why WordPress uses PHP, and it is totally based on that, so that we can make our website creation very much easy and in no time. So now in the next video, we will learn how we can install this Xampp on our computer and run PHP so that we do not have to purchase a web server and you can run WordPress on your own local environment. So see you in the next lecture.
I enjoy doing them, but more than that, actually, let me rephrase it. I think the reason why I enjoy it so much is because how much the people get off, the audience appreciates what we do. You know, there's a lot of things I could be doing outside of the industry, even within the industry, but, you know, I don't know if the satisfaction would be the same, you know, because to be a part of something that people really appreciate, as much as maybe certain people hate to admit it, it's important to us, you know, as humans. It's like you want to believe that, you know, what you're putting out there and what you've dedicated so much time to is there's a certain degree of acknowledgement, and more than acknowledgement and appreciation. You know, obviously this one's been appreciated for a long time, and that's a great feeling.
In this section, we will learn how we can go ahead and how we can install WordPress on the Windows operating system. So if you are using the Mac operating system, then I would recommend you to watch the next section that is all about the Mac operating system. So as in the previous section, we got to know that in order to actually run WordPress, we need to have a server. And this is a software, Xampp, that is actually going to convert our computer into a local server so that we do not have to purchase a web server while we are actually working or in the learning stage of WordPress development, so that we can have a private playground and we can practice and experiment with WordPress without purchasing a server. So let's just go ahead and let's get started. The very first thing that you actually need to do is to go to apachefriends.org. And this is a website that is going to provide you this particular software, that is Xampp, which comes with Apache web server, that comes with a PHP compiler that WordPress is built in, and also the MariaDB so that WordPress can be connected with the database and we can actually install themes, add pages, and so on and so forth. So let's just go ahead and let's install this Xampp. Since we are using the Windows operating system, we will go ahead and we will click on Xampp for Windows, and once we will click on here, the Xampp will be downloaded. Alright, so now once the Xampp is actually downloaded, now what we have to do is to double click on it and it will open up. Alright, so now once you will open the Xampp installer, you will be given a screen about the Bitnami over here. And then it is going to give you a warning. So you can disregard that and you can hit on OK. If you do not get the warning, do not worry about it. Now, here we've got this setup window. And now we are ready to install Xampp on our operating system. So now the process is really simple. We have to just do the next, and next. So let's do that. We will click on next. We will click on next. And now here we have to select the directory where we want to install that. So we will be keeping that to be the C drive. And now we will click on next. Now we will click on next. And now we will uncheck this. And now we will click on next. And we have to hit on next. And this is going to be installed. So let's wait till this is actually installed and then I'll be back. Now, depending on your CPU, this process can take some time, probably like 5 to 10 minutes, so you can go and get a cup of coffee. Alright, so now you can see that the setup is now completed and Xampp has been installed. Now what we have to do is to uncheck this that says, do you want to start the control panel now? And the reason for that is because I want to show you that how you can manually start the control panel. So you need to uncheck this, and now you have to hit on finish. Now where did we install the the Xampp. So we actually installed the Xampp in our C drive. So what we will do is that we will click on here. Now we've got this Xampp over here. We need to click on here. Now we need to go down, and here we've got this Xampp dash control. This is going to be the control panel where we can manage our server. Now let me tell you one thing. Let's suppose that you start the server, you are building the website, now you shut down your computer, and now you open that computer once again. Then what you have to do is to go into the C drive, open the Xampp, go to the Xampp control, start your server, and then your website will be loaded. Alright, so let's just go ahead, let's click on here, and let's open that up. You can also open it from here, or you can go to the start over here, and now in here you can search for Xampp, and you should be seeing this Xampp dash control panel over here, and you can start it from here as well. Alright, so this is basically the control panel that we have over here. And here it says Xampp installation directory and everything. Now inside this course, we will be working with the Apache, and also we will be working with the MySQL database. These are the two modules we will be working while we are building our WordPress website. So let's just go ahead and let's click on the start over here, and our Apache server will be started. So if your server is not getting started, and if you are getting any of the error, then make sure to watch the next lecture where I will show you how you can go ahead and how you can change your port. And if you did not have any error, then also watch the next lecture too after completing this lecture, because that is really very important. Alright, once this Apache server gets started, now what we have to do is to also start the MySQL or MySQL server. And now you can see that this is also started, and both are actually running. Once these both two are started, now if you go ahead and you go to your web browser, alright, and inside the browser, if you now enter this in the URL, that is the local host, alright, just make sure to enter this, and then now when you will hit enter, you can see that we are actually taken to the Xampp over here, and here is the web page being loaded. That means that you have successfully installed Xampp on your computer. So now, this local host will be your website address for the WordPress that we will be building. Like you can see that when we want to visit google.com, and then we hit on enter, and then we are taken to Google, right? Similarly, when you want to visit your locally hosted website, you have to start your Xampp server, and then you have to enter localhost, and now you have to hit enter, and you are actually taken to your website. Now when we actually install the Xampp, basically Xampp already installed some of the pages that is actually the installation pages, like how you can go ahead and how you can work with the Xampp. So what we need to do is to get rid of these pages, because now we have to start installing WordPress inside the Xampp. So how are we going to do that? First of all, you need to go to your C drive where the Xampp is. Now you need to open the Xampp directory. And now inside here, you should see this htdocs. So open this up, and this is actually the file, this is actually the folder that contains every public element inside here. So if I just go ahead and I just press Ctrl A to select all, and I just delete everything inside here, this is what I want you to do. So make sure to go ahead, go into the htdocs and delete everything. Now if you go ahead and you go into the localhost and you hit enter, you can see that now this folder is empty, and whatever we will be adding inside the htdocs, that is going to be running as a web server. So now let's test if actually PHP is running. So for that, what I need you to do is to make sure that you go to sublimetext.com and install the Sublime Text on your computer. You can click on download, and Sublime Text is going to be downloaded. Now the process is really simple. You have to do next, 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 and next. Once you have downloaded that, now you need to search for the Sublime Text, and you have to hit on enter, and Sublime Text should open up. This is how it will be. So now once you are actually in the Sublime Text, now what you need to do is to go into the file, click create a new file, and you can see that a new file is created. Now what we will be doing is that we will be creating our first PHP file, and we will be running that as a server inside the server, and we'll be seeing if that is actually working. Now we will go ahead and we will click on File, and now we will select Save, and we will save this file inside the local disk C, inside the Xampp folder, inside the htdocs. And now we will name our file to be file.php. Now make sure to enter the extension because this is really very important. Alright, once you have entered that, now you need to hit on save, and you can see that our first PHP file is created. Now if we go ahead and we refresh this, you can see that we have got this file because its size is 0, and the reason for that is because there is nothing in here. So now what we will do is that we will write some of the PHP code to actually test if our server is running perfectly okay. Alright, so what you can do is that you can write here $sign question mark PHP. Alright, now you need to give a space. Now you can hit on enter. Alright, and now we are in the second line. And this is actually the syntax of writing PHP. Now this is not a PHP course, alright? We are just doing this for fun so that we can actually test like how actually PHP is working inside our server. Alright, now once you are in here in the new line, you have to also enter once more. Now you have to add here question mark and greater than sign. Now in between, whatever we will be adding, that will be executed as a PHP command. So let's suppose that if you want to print something, we will write here print. Alright, now we will be adding in here 2 brackets, and inside these parentheses, I will be adding 2 quotation marks, and inside this quotation marks, I will write here it's working. Alright, and I will just add an exclamation mark. Now make sure to also end your statement after the parentheses, you need to add a semicolon. That's it. Now you can press Ctrl S to save it. And once you have actually saved this, now let's just go ahead and let's refresh this. So now you can see that the size is actually changed to 34 because we have some of the text written there. And now let's click on this file.php and let's see if it's working. And here you go. It says it's working. So the reason why it's working is because we are running it as a server. Now let's suppose that if you want to run it without the server. So let's suppose that inside the htdocs I've got this file.php. If I just drag this and I just drop it inside the Chrome, now you can see that it's not working, it's just showing the text. But here it is actually working, and that means that our server is finally working. So in the next lecture, we're going to be talking about the port. That is really important. I need you to watch that lecture. We will be changing that port. And later that lecture, we will be working with the WordPress installation, where we will be installing our WordPress on the website. So stay tuned and bye-bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take you on a journey throughout the continents and throughout sound itself. We start our journey in the central deserts. India. China. Germany.
Party, yeah.
In this lesson, we will learn how to change a port of a Xampp server. So let's suppose that if in the previous lecture, when we were starting this Apache web server, and when you were starting this, you were actually getting an error, then this is probably due to a port confliction. So let me tell you one thing. Basically, when we actually install this Xampp, now Xampp uses this local host to serve the website. And in behind there is actually a port that is 80. So if we enter :80 and we hit on enter, you can see that the website is actually loaded. So this is actually a port that is given to the Xampp. But sometimes some of the softwares that you have on your personal computer or you will be installing in the future that may conflict with the Xampp, because some of the software use the same 80 port and that conflicts with that. So that is why if you were having any of the issues when you were starting the Xampp server, or if you did not have any issues, then I would highly recommend you to change your port from 80 to something else, so that even if you install any of the software, that is not going to conflict with the Xampp. So let's see how we can go ahead and how we can change our port. Now the very first thing that you need to do is to stop your server, and you also have to stop it right here. Now once you have stopped your server, now what you need to do is to go into the config of the Apache. Now what you need to do is to click on this Apache httpd.conf, alright? And once you are in here, it's going to open up a notepad file. Now we have to go down, and right here you can see that after this hash sign, you can see that we've got this listen 80. So now this 80 port, this is the default port. Now we have to change this to something else. So we will write here 8080. Alright, we will change this port to 8080. Now we have to go down further. And right here you can see that we've got this server name, and I'm at this right here. Now we've got this localhost :80. So instead of this localhost :80, I will change this to 8080 and make sure that this 8080 is similar to what you have entered there. So if you have entered there 8081, you have to enter there as well. Now what you have to do is to press Ctrl S to save this. Now you have to close this file. And now if you will go ahead and you restart your server, you can see that now we've got our port to be 8080. And now we can start our Xampp, our Apache, our MySQL, and both are running. Now if we go ahead and we refresh this, you will see that the website will not be loaded. It says the site cannot be reached. And the reason for that is because we have just changed our port. So before that, it was :80, but Chrome already know that website's port address are 80. So now if we have changed the port, then we have to define that port. So we have to write here localhost :8080, and now we have to hit on enter, and now the website will be loaded. Now, I would highly recommend you to change your port, because in the future, let's suppose that you will be installing some of these softwares, whether it's development software or any other software, there is high chance that that would conflict with the Xampp. So make sure to change your port. In the next lecture, we will be working with the installation of WordPress on our Windows operating system.
Any nation that has made impressive progress has revered and practiced meritocracy, number one. Second, it has revered and practiced values. And third, it has in some way lived in peace with neighbors.
In this lesson, we will be installing WordPress on our Windows operating system. So as in the previous lectures, we installed the Xampp and we have also changed our port. Now what we have to do is to install WordPress. So the very first thing that we need to do is to go to wordpress.org, and once we are in here, we have to click on Get WordPress, and now we have to click on Download WordPress, and WordPress is going to be downloaded. So once the WordPress is actually downloaded, now we need to go into our htdocs. Now we have to delete this PHP file that we created. And now we can go into the downloads folder and we can copy the WordPress zip file. Now we have to go into the local disk C, go to the Xampp, open the htdocs, and now we have to paste in this file. Now if we go ahead and we go to our local host, and if we refresh this, you can see that now we have got this WordPress zip file. But now what we have to do is to extract this. So how we're going to do that, we have to right click on it, and now we have to select extract here. If you do not have the extracting software, you can search for WinRAR and you can install that software. So let's just hit extract here, and now you can see that this zip file is going to be extracted on our htdocs folder. Alright, so now once this file is extracted, now we can go ahead and we can get rid of this WordPress zip file because we do not need it anymore. And now let's refresh this, and you can see that we have got this WordPress. And now if we open this up, it will take us to the WordPress installation page. Alright, so now you can see that we are in the WordPress installation page that says the setup-config. Now let me tell you one thing. Basically, you can see that when we go to our root folder or the main folder or the home folder and we hit on enter, here it says WordPress, and then we have to click on it, and then we are actually taken to the WordPress installation page. But right here, if we take a look at this website, this is a website that we will be building as our 5th project in this course. Now you can see that when I go into the domainname.com and I hit enter, I'm actually taken to the home page. Alright, I do not have to type in here /WordPress, alright, and then I have to enter, and then the website is loaded, right? When I just go into the website, it takes me to the home page. However, on this right here, you can see that we have to type in here /WordPress so that it takes us to the WordPress folder, and then the WordPress is loaded. So what we have to do is to move all the files that are inside the WordPress to the main htdocs folder. So we can open it up. Now we can select all the files by pressing Ctrl A, and now we have to press Ctrl C to copy, or you can press Ctrl X to cut these files. Now you can go to the htdocs, and now you can press Ctrl V to paste all the files over here. Now we can get rid of this WordPress folder because we do not need it anymore, and we can hit on delete. Now you can see that inside the Xampp, inside the local disk C, inside the Xampp, now we've got this htdocs, and inside the htdocs we have got all the WordPress files. So now if we go to localhost :8080, if you change your port, and if you didn't change your port, you have to write here just localhost. Now you have to hit enter, and you will be taken to the WordPress setup-config page. Now we have to start the installation of WordPress. So let's select English as the language, and let's hit on continue. Now here it says, welcome to WordPress. Before getting started, you will need to know the following items, that is all about the database. So let's click on let's go. And now what we have to do is to create a database, tell our WordPress about that database, and WordPress will handle everything and it will be installed on our computer. So we have to work with these 3 fields: username, password, and database name. Let's just go ahead and let's work with that. So for that, make sure that in your Xampp you have your MySQL started, and if it is started, now you need to go to localhost, and if you change your port, right here :8080 /php myadmin, and now you have to hit on enter, and this is going to take you to the phpMyAdmin or the database page. Now what we have to do is to create a user account inside the phpMyAdmin so that we can enter it over here. So let's just go to the phpMyAdmin. Let's just click on the user accounts, and now in here we have to add a new user account. So let's just select add user account, and now here we have to enter the username. So in the username, now we will be entering here Tanzil, and you can enter any of the name, any of the username you want. In the host name, we will be entering here localhost, because this is actually the local host, so make sure to add the local host. And in the password, now we have to enter QWERTY. So keep your password to be very simple. Do not worry about this very weak password. And the reason for that is because this website is going to be stored locally on our own computer, so we do not have to worry about it. Now you have to retype your password, QWERTY. And once you have entered everything in here, now you have to go down and here it says global privileges. Click check all. And now you have to go down and here it says go. Click on that and your user account is created. So once your user account for the phpMyAdmin is created, now you need to add in that in here. So in the username, we will be entering Tanzil because that is the username that we just added. And in the password, we will be entering QWERTY. This is the database host which is set to localhost because this is the host that we actually entered in here. Now we are ready, but now we have to work with the database name. So now what we have to do is to create a database. And how do you create a database? Here you can see that we've got all the databases created by the default. But now we have to create a new separate database for the WordPress. So how we're going to do that? We have to click on this new link over here, and it's going to take us to the Create Database window. Now here you can enter your database name. This is going to be like whatever you want to add in here, you can add that. So let's suppose that you want to name it as WordPress. You can enter that. Or you want to use a short form of WordPress, you can also enter that. There is no need to worry about it, and this is not going to be public. This is just a way to actually call your database so that WordPress can actually communicate with the database. So this should be actually unique. Now, since you can see that I do not have any previously database created named as the WP, that is why I can create this database, and I can click on Create. And now you can see that we've got this WP database created. Now, if you go ahead and you enter WP in here, you are ready to install WordPress on your computer. But let's suppose that if I enter the wrong password and I just hit on submit, now it will give me an error that establishing a database connection was unsuccessful. So I can retry that, and now in the password, I can enter the correct password, and now I have to hit on submit, and this is going to be done. Now we have to click run the installation, and our installation is now completed. So in the website title, username, and password, you have to enter information about your website that you can always change these later. So let's just go ahead and let's enter these. This is actually the last step of the WordPress installation. In the website title, I need you to enter your full name. And the reason why I need you to enter your full name is because our first project is going to be a personal website where we will be entering everything about ourselves. This is going to be the first project, right? So after installing WordPress and learning the basics of WordPress, we will be moving on to the projects and we will be building a replica of this website. The reason why I have chosen first project to be personal website is because you guys already know much more about yourself compared to any other corporate company. That is why we have to build our first project as a personal website. So inside the site title, you need to enter your full name, and in the username, you need to enter like anything you can add in here, admin as well. Now remember, this username is going to let you log into your website. So if I open the website, the personal website that I just showed you right now. Now let's suppose that if I want to edit this file or edit this website, then what I need to do, I need to type in here /wp-admin, and this is going to automatically take me to the WordPress admin panel. But before taking me to the admin panel, it will ask me about the username and password so that it can authenticate if I'm actually the administrator of the website and I can edit that website, right? So whatever you will be entering in here in the username, you can log in with that particular information inside here. All right, so I'll be entering in the username, my name. You can enter your name as well. Now in the password, we will be keeping our password to be very simple. That is going to be ASDFGH. Now remember, this is actually a very weak password, so you can use it because this website is going to be your own computer only, so you do not need to worry about it. When we will be transferring the website, we will be changing that password, so do not worry about it. And I will also show you in the upcoming lectures like how you can change your password as well. Now you can hit confirm use of weak password. Now in the email, you need to enter your correct email address, and now you can hit on install WordPress. Alright, so now you can see that here we've got a success message that WordPress has been installed. And now if we go ahead and we go to our website, that is the localhost :8080, and we hit on enter, you can see that we are in our website right here. And now we can work with this website. So let's just go ahead and let's go to the admin panel of the website to test it out. And from the next section, we're going to be taking about the WordPress dashboard overview, where I will show you how to actually log in, log out again. So do not worry about it. Let's just go ahead and let's enter the admin panel. In order to enter the admin panel or the dashboard, you need to write here /wp-admin. And now you have to hit on enter. It will take you to the login page where now you have to enter your username. We entered Tanzil, and in the password you need to enter in here ASDFGH. So make sure to enter that, and now you can hit on login, and it's going to log you into the WordPress dashboard. Alright, so now you can see that now we are in the WordPress dashboard. And here we've got this username, our edit profile, logout. Do not worry about the profile picture. You can change it later on. In the edit profile, now you can go ahead and you can also change your password as well. So you can set a new password, and then you can change your password, and then you can hit on update profile. Similarly, if you want to log out of the website, you can just bring your mouse to that, and you can hit on logout, and you will be logged out of the website. Just like that. Now if you go ahead and you take a look at the website, you can see that this is how the website looks like. So now we are fully done with the WordPress installation. From the next lecture, we will learn how to install WordPress on Mac. So since you are Windows users, you can leave that section. And after that, we will be having a complete WordPress dashboard overview. I would highly recommend you to watch that. Now let me tell you one thing last time. And that is, now when you will be shutting down your computer and when you will be starting your computer once again, then what you have to do in order to access your website, you have to start your Apache and MySQL, and now you can start from your website by just entering the localhost :8080.
Always believed in positive thinking. At the same time, I don't want to mislead. I also believe in aspiring, in terms of what you're doing, aspiring to protect against the downside. You can't just be this wonderful guy walking around everything's positive, because unfortunately that's not the way the world is. I love to tell people to think about the challenges so that when they do come along, you're ready.
In this section, we will learn how we can go ahead and how we can install WordPress on the Mac operating system. So if you are using the Windows operating system, then I would recommend you to watch the previous section that is all about the Windows operating system. Alright, let's just go ahead and let's get started. So as in the section number 1, that was all about the introduction of this course, we got to know that in order to actually use WordPress, we need to have a server. Because WordPress is actually developed in a language called PHP. Not only that, WordPress also connects with the database that is the MariaDB. So Xampp, this is basically a software that comes with Apache, that is actually a server, PHP, which is the language, and MariaDB, which is a database that can run PHPMyAdmin. So in this lecture, we will learn how we can go ahead and how we can install this software so that we can go ahead and we can actually run WordPress, because WordPress is based on PHP. Alright, so now the very first thing that you actually need to do is to go to apachefriends.org. And once you are on this website, now you do not need to click this button that says the Xampp for OS X. And the reason for that is because this is going to download the virtual machine version or the VM version. Now VM version is really much bigger in size and it's quite really buggy, and that is why I would highly recommend you to install the normal version. So how you're going to install that? What you need to do is to go ahead, visit the website, click on the download button over here. Now you need to go down and you should see on the third line we have got the latest version of the Xampp. So on the third line, whatever that is, whatever the version you are on, that is going to be the latest version, and the size of it is going to be either between 160 to 165. Alright, so make sure to install this on the third line. The one that is on the sixth line is the latest version, which is actually the VM version over here. That would be above the 350 MB. But what we need to do is to download the normal version that would be in between 160 and 165 MB. All you need to do is to click on this download and the Xampp will now be downloaded. Alright, so now once the Xampp is actually downloaded, now what we need to do is to open that up. So let's open that up and you should see a folder like this. Now we will double click on it and it will ask for our Mac operating system password. So let's enter the password, that is your Mac operating system password. Now we will click on OK and the Xampp will now be loaded. Alright, so now once the Xampp is actually loaded, you should see the setup file over here. And this process is really very simple because we have to just press the next, and next. So let's just go ahead and let's press next, next. Just uncheck this and hit on next. And now you can see that the Xampp is being installed on our computer. Now, depending on your CPU, this is going to take some time, so I'll be going ahead and I'll be pausing my recording, and once this is actually installed, I'll be back. Alright, so now the Xampp is actually successfully installed on my Mac. And now we are ready to start our server. So now what we need to do is to just uncheck this, and now we have to hit on finish. Now once you're done with that, you can just close this window, you can open your Finder, and you can eject your Xampp from here. That's it, and once you're done with that, you can also close these tabs as well. And now let's just go ahead and let's start our Xampp server. So in order to start our Xampp server, we first have to open up our Finder, and now we have to go into the Applications folder. And now inside the Applications folder, here you should see this Xampp, because we actually installed the Xampp in our Applications folder. All you need to do is to open this file, and now you should see this Manager-OS X. So we need to click on it, and it will now ask for our password again, so we will enter that, and now we will hit on OK. Now remember this thing. Whenever you will be like restarting your computer, shutting down your computer, and now when you want to visit your website again, you have to go into the Manager-OS X. Now you have to go into the Manage Servers, and now you have to start your server. So in this particular course, we're going to be working with the Apache server and also the MySQL database. So if this is already started, do not worry about it. This is going to be started for the first time only when you will install that, and later on when you will shut down your computer, this is going to be stopped. So what you need to do is to select this, click on the start, select your MySQL database, click on start, and now these both two should be running once this gets turned into green. Alright, so now we have got these both two servers running. Now let's just see how we can check if the server is actually running. And that is, all you need to do is to open your browser. And now you have to type in here localhost, and now you have to hit enter. And once you will hit enter, you can see that we have got this Xampp running perfectly okay. Alright, so now let's just go ahead and let's open up our Xampp over here. Now you can see that this Apache web server is running. Now let's suppose that when you were actually starting this, it did not run, then what to do? So this usually happens because of a blocked port. So if you were having an error, make sure to watch this from here. And if you did not have any error, then also continue watching because we're talking about a really important point over here. Basically, when we start a web server over here, then the web server is actually started on the local host. Now, inside our Mac, let's suppose that we want to install some of the other applications too. Now, these applications might conflict with the local host because the local host has a default port for all the websites that is the :80. And the Xampp also uses that. So what I would actually recommend you to do is to go ahead and change your port. Now what actually is a port? You do not need to worry about it, but make sure to actually change your port so that in the future when you will be installing some of your applications, that applications should not conflict with the Xampp over here and your server might not run perfectly. So what we actually need to do is to select this Apache web server. Now we have to click on this configure, and this is going to open up this right here that says configure Apache web server. Now we will go ahead and inside the port we will write here 80 instead of the 80. We will write here 8080. And this will be our specific port for the Xampp so that in the future, even if we install any application, that is not going to conflict with the Xampp. Now we have to click on OK, and it's going to tell us to restart the server, so we will select yes. Now the server is going to be restarted, and once this gets restarted, we will go ahead and we will refresh this page, and you can see that this site cannot be reached is showing. So now what we have to do is to go to localhost, but not we have to only write the localhost, we also have to add the port because we have just changed the default port. So what we will now write is that we will write localhost :8080, and now we have to hit on enter, and now you can see that this Xampp is running. So this was actually a precautionary method that I wanted you to do so that in the future if you install any application that is not going to conflict with the Xampp over here. Now make sure to remember that when you will shut down your PC and when you want to visit your website that we will be installing WordPress later on in the next lecture, then you have to restart the server so that you can access the website. Now let's talk about the WordPress. So how we can go ahead and how we can actually run WordPress in here. Basically, now we can see that the Apache web server is actually running, which means that when we enter this local host, alright, :8080, and we hit on enter, it is taking us to this dashboard. Alright, so why is it taking us to the dashboard and why we are not being given the empty over here so that we can actually install WordPress inside here and the WordPress homepage should be loaded, right? This is the question that we have in mind, and let's answer that. So when we actually install Xampp automatically install some of the files right here so that you can check that okay, the Xampp is running perfectly. Now what we need to do is to delete all those files. So if you go into the applications, and inside the applications you go into the Xampp, you can see that we have got this htdocs, and this htdocs is actually the folder that is holding all the public files. So if we open this up, now you can see that we have got this dashboard, and Xampp is actually taking us to the dashboard. So what we will do is that we will press Command A to select all the files. We will right click on here and we will select move to bin, and we will get rid of each of the file and we will hit OK. Once we are done, now if we go ahead and we refresh this localhost :8080, you can see that we are getting the empty folder over here. And inside this htdocs, now we are ready to deploy our WordPress. So let's just go ahead, let's get a copy of WordPress, let's paste it in here, and let's work with the installation. So what we have to do, we need to go to wordpress.org. This is the official WordPress website, and we need to download a copy of WordPress so that we can install it on our local web server, that is the Xampp. What we have to do, we have to click on this Get WordPress, and we will be taken to the WordPress page. Now we have to click on Download WordPress, and WordPress is going to be downloaded. So now, once the WordPress is actually downloaded, now we do not need this tab anymore, so we will get rid of it. And now we will copy up our WordPress inside the Applications folder, Xampp, and the htdocs, which is the public folder. Now, I'll be referring to htdocs so that you already know that htdocs folder is in the Applications folder, Xampp, and the htdocs. And this is the folder that we will be only working with. Alright, so now what we need to do is to drag our WordPress zip file that we just downloaded, and we have to drop it in here. And now, if we go ahead and we refresh this page, you can see that we have got this WordPress zip file. So now what we have to do, we have to extract it. So we will open up the Finder, we will double click on it, and this file is going to be extracted right here. Now once this file gets extracted, inside here we have got all the WordPress files that are based on PHP, and now we are ready to work with that. Since this file is the zip file and we do not need it anymore, we can right click on it and we can click on Move to Bin, and it's going to be deleted. Now if you go ahead and we refresh this, you can now see we've got this WordPress, and if we click on it, it takes us to the installation page, which means that it is finally working. But if we go ahead and we go to localhost only and we hit enter, you can see that we are given a folder, and if we click on it, we are actually taken to /WordPress, and then the website is loaded. However, when I visit this website, the website that we will be building as our 5th project inside this course, you can see that when I type in the domain name.com and I hit enter, the website is actually loaded. I do not have to write here /WordPress so that the WordPress has to be loaded, right? So when I type in the domain, the website is loaded. So how to actually configure that? For that, what we have to do, we have to open up our htdocs, and inside this WordPress folder, we will click on it, and now we will select all the files by pressing Command A, and now we will press Command C to copy these files. Now we will go back and we will paste all the files inside the htdocs. Let's hit on here, and now you can see that we have got all the files over here. Now we do not need this empty WordPress folder which already has a WordPress. So we do not need this because all the files that were inside this folder, we have already copied them over here. So what we will do is that we will right click on it and we will get rid of that. Now if we go ahead and we go to localhost :8080 and we hit on enter, it takes us to the setup page. And now we are ready to install WordPress. So from the next lecture, I will show you how we can go ahead and how we can install WordPress on our Mac operating system. Stay tuned and bye-bye.
I feel equally frustrated. I also feel angry at times. I feel disappointed. But what is important is none of these are constructive. You know, what needs to be done right now is more important than any of these emotions. So when I get into the thinking of what needs to be, Nabi mujhe kya karna hai, what is the next thing that I can plan, who is the individual I can use, and once I get into it, you know, I'm controlling my emotions in a much better way. So I would say I'm like everyone else. It's just that I control my emotions slightly better than some of the other individuals.
In this lesson, we will learn how we can go ahead and how we can install WordPress on the Mac operating system. As in the previous lecture, we copied the WordPress files from the WordPress.org and we pasted that to our htdocs folder. And now we are ready to install WordPress. But as in the previous lecture, I told you that Mac operating system requires some of the permissions. Basically, you can see that we've got this, that in a text editor, fill your information and save it as the wp-config. So basically, when we will hit on let's go and we will be installing WordPress, then WordPress is going to create a file named as wp-config.php that is going to hold all the information about our database. So when the WordPress will create this wp-config, Mac will stop that process. So what we have to do, we have to tell our Mac that, okay, when WordPress will be creating this file, we have to allow that. And for that, we have to open our Finder, and inside the htdocs, we have to change the permission. But if you take a look at this htdocs is actually the shortcut. The actual htdocs folder is in the Xampp files. So we will open this up, and now inside the Xampp files, you can see that we have got this htdocs. And if we click on it, we are in the same htdocs folder. However, inside the applications, inside the Xampp, and if we click on the htdocs, I'm actually taken to the same page because this htdocs is actually a shortcut. So what we need to do is to click on this Xampp files, and now we have to right click on this htdocs. Now we have to go into the get info. We need to click on it, and now in here you can see that we've got this sharing and permission. All you need to do is to open that up, and now we've got this read and write, and for everyone this is read only. So we will just click on this lock over here. Now we will enter our password and we will hit on OK. And now we will change this everyone from read only to read and write. And once you're done with that, now you can click on cross. But now we also have to open this htdocs, which is the public folder that contains all of the website information. And now what we need to do is to also right click on this wp-content folder. So we need to right click on it. We need to click on get info. And we also need to change these from admin to read only. We need to change this to read and write. And we need to change this to read and write. Now you need to close this. Now you need to open this wp-content. And in the plugins folder, you need to right click on it. Click get info. Now also change this to read and write and read and write. Same goes with the themes. This is going to be the last folder that we need to change. So we will right click on it, click on get info, change this to read and write and read and write. And now you are done and you are ready to install WordPress on your Mac. Once you're done with that, now you can refresh this page and you can click on let's go. Alright, so here it says below you should enter your database connection details. But we do not know what these are. So what we need to do is to create one. So first of all, what we need to do is to create a database username. We need to create a database password. And then we need to create a database. That's it. We need to work with these three things only. The host is localhost, which is perfectly okay. Now, what we have to do is to open a new tab. And now we have to type in here localhost. And if you have changed your port, then enter :8080/php my admin. Now you have to hit on enter and you will be taken to the database page, where now we have to connect this database with the WordPress, and then we can close this tab and we do not have to look at this tab anymore because WordPress will be handling each and everything once it is installed. So now the very first thing that we need to do is to create a username and password. So what we will do, we will go into the database. Now we will go into the user accounts, and now in here we will select Add User Account. Now in the username, we will be entering here Tanzil. You can enter your own name as a username. In the host name, we will be entering local host that we have. So we will be entering that in here. And in the password, we will be entering a really simple password. That is going to be QWERTY. Alright, now you can keep it to be very vague because this website is going to be on our own computer only. So that is why there is no need to worry. When we will be transferring this website to the online server, then we will be changing this password. So let's enter the same password that was QWERTY. Once you're done with that, now you need to go down, click on Global Privileges, select Check All, and now we have to click on this Go that is right here at the bottom. You will click on here, and now you can see that this user account has been created. So now what we have to do is to use these credentials on our setup page. In the username, we entered Tanzil, and in the password, we entered QWERTY. That's it. Now we are ready to go, but first we have to create a database name so that it can be associated with that. Right here in the sidebar, you can see all the databases that are created by the default. Now we do not have to touch any of these databases. Instead, we will be creating a separate database by clicking on this new button over here. Once we are in here, it says enter the database name. Now in the database name, we will be entering the name that we will be copying and pasting that over here. So inside here, you can write here WordPress, or you can also enter a short form of WordPress, that is WP. Now you can enter any name over here. The name that you will be entering here, make sure to add as it is over here in this field. So let's suppose that we want to enter WP in here, and once we will click on create, that database is going to be created, and this is right here. Here it says no tables found. So since we have named our database name to be WP, we will be entering that over here. And now we are ready to install WordPress. And once we will click on submit, the WordPress will be installed. Let's suppose that if I enter the wrong password, like I add QWERTYS, and I hit on submit, here it says error establishing a database connection. So now I need to click on try again, and now I have to re-enter my password. That is the correct password, which was QWERTY, and now I have to hit on submit. This table prefix is for multiple WordPress installations in a single database, so we do not need to work for that. And now we have to hit on submit. Alright, so now you can see that WordPress is now ready to be installed, and we will click on run the installation, and voila. Now we are ready to go. Now what we have to do is to enter information about our websites that we can always change later. So let's just go ahead and let's enter these information, and then we will be taking a look at our website. So in the website title, I want you to enter your full name. And the reason for that is because we will be building our 5th project as a personal website. So this will be our first project, and we will be building a website like this over here. So that is why I need you to enter your website title as your full name, and you can change this later on, so do not worry about it. In the username, we have to enter the username. That is going to be my name, Tanzil. Now remember, whatever you will be entering in here, that will let you log into your website so that you can make some edits. Like, let's suppose that this is a website that is online. All right, and now if I want to log into this website, I have to type in here /WP-ADMIN, and now I have to hit on enter, and it's going to take me to the WordPress admin panel, where now I can enter my username and my password, and I will hit on login, and it's going to log me into the website, where now I can edit this website. So remember, whatever you will be entering in the username, that is going to let you log in to WordPress. In the password, we will be entering in here ASDFGH. All right. This is going to be a weak password, but do not worry about it. You can change it later on. And when we will be transferring this website to the online server, then we will be using a strong password. So we will select confirm use of weak password, enter our email, and now we have to hit on install WordPress. All right. So congratulations. Now WordPress has been successfully installed. And now if we go to localhost 8080 and we hit on enter, you can see that the website is now loading perfectly okay, as it was actually loading over here. So if we go to the website, we are getting the website full page over here, and same goes with this. Now let's suppose that when we want to log in, how we're going to log in, we have to type in here /WP-ADMIN, and now we have to hit on enter. And now in here we need to enter our username, that was Tanzil, and in the password we will be entering in here ASDFGH, and now we have to hit on login. And now we are able to log in to the WordPress right here. Congratulations, and in the next lecture we're going to be taking a look at some of the bugs about the Mac, and we're going to be working out with that, and we're going to be resolving that. Stay tuned, and bye-bye.
India grows while being responsible about our planet. We believe, Mata Bhumihi Putro Aham Prithviya. This means the earth is our mother and we are her children. We made renewables account for over 40% of our energy sources 9 years ahead of the target of 2030. We became the only G20 country to meet its Paris commitment.
In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the bug fixes for Mac operating system. So let's just go ahead and let's get started. So as you can see that in the previous lecture, we successfully installed WordPress on our website. And we also took a look at the dashboard, like how we can log into website. So we can log into website by just writing here /WP-ADMIN. And if we are logged in, it will log us in. And if we're not logged in, it will tell us to enter our username and password. Similarly, we can log out by just bringing our mouse and clicking the logout. But let me tell you one of the great features of WordPress. If I go ahead and I visit this website in a new tab by just bringing my mouse to this and clicking visit website, you can see that this is how the website looks like. Now if I go into the WP-admin, which is the admin panel where I can manage the website, if I go into the appearance and now I go into the themes, and now we have got 3 themes over here. Now let's suppose that if I activate this 2020 theme and I hit on activate, now if I go ahead and I refresh, you can see that the look of my website is changed. And this is the power of WordPress. Similarly, if we now go ahead and we activate the 2021 theme, and now if we go ahead and we refresh this, you can see that the look of my website is changed. So that is how WordPress works. But there is actually an issue with the Mac operating system. And that is, you can see that if I want to install a new theme that is from the online repository, like if I click on the Add New, And now let's suppose that I want to install any other theme, like this is the Astra. And if I click on install, now you can see it just tells me connection information. And here it is asking me some of these information. So what I need to do, I need to bypass this so that I can actually install any theme, any of the plugin later on when we will be working with the WordPress basics. So what we need to do for that, and there is actually a fix for that, and this is usually the bug that only appears on the Mac operating system. So what we have to do is that first of all, make sure that you go to sublimetext.com and make sure to download this Sublime Text Editor. Once you have downloaded that, now what you need to do is to drag that Sublime Text to the Applications folder so that inside the Applications folder you have this Sublime Text. And once you have this Sublime Text, now what you need to do is to open your Xampp. Now you have to go into the htdocs, and now you have to look for the file that is wp-config. So here you can see that we've got this wp-config over here. You can also switch this to list so that we can take a look at the files easily. This is actually the wp-config. Where it is? Here it is. This is actually the wp-config. Now what we have to do is to right click on it, and now we have to select open with, and now we have to select Sublime Text. Once you open this with the Sublime Text, now you can see that this is how the file looks like. So now once you are in this file, now you need to go down to the end of the file, and here on the line 88, it says that's all, stop editing, happy publishing. Now before this, you can see that we have got this define wp_debug false. So now what you need to do is to actually copy this, alright? Now you need to go to another line, and now you have to paste in whatever you copied, alright? And now inside this wp_debug, you need to write here fs_method, and instead of the false, you need to delete that. Now you need to add single quotation marks, and in here, you need to write here direct. That's it. Now you have to press Ctrl or Command S to save. And once you're done with that, now you can go ahead and you can refresh this page. And now, if we go ahead and we install this Astra in the Add New theme, you can see that this is going to be successfully installed. Alright, so now if I just go ahead and I activate this theme once this gets installed, now if I go ahead and I refresh this, you can see that the look of my website is changed just like that. Now what we will be doing is that we will be switching back to the theme that we were actually on. We will hit on activate. Now we will click on this Astra, and we will delete this theme so that we are actually from the fresh start. And from the next lecture, now we're going to be taking a look at the WordPress dashboard overview, where we will be talking about some more things. We will be understanding much more about the dashboard. We will learn how to create pages and so on and so forth. So from the next lecture, we're going to be taking a look at that. Stay tuned and bye-bye.